Can you like point the camera at them?
I can show you the tree they're in.
Just like these birds, a ton of people yelled at Peppy about what could be added to Lazer, and developers actually listened.
The top one, Cup of the Day, a Trackmania system, these daily rotations of levels. I thought, hey, this is a good chance to do something new and just give the community something new to play with. Yeah, we're going to push it out as soon as we can, so it's not in this release, but maybe expect to see that soon.
We'll talk more about this when it's, in-game. For now, just know that development effort is being put towards this daily beatmap project, but not all development effort. People had pretty big concerns about skinning too, so developers are addressing that. If you ever tried moving skin elements here, you might have noticed that they don't always end up where you'd expect. Let me explain why. Every skin element has two position factors, origin and anchor. The origin is a point on the skin element, and the anchor is a point on the screen. So for the HP bar, this is the origin, and this is the anchor. These are connected, so when the anchor moves, the skin element follows. Before this update, when you move something around, the anchor would be automatically set to the point closest to the origin, which in this case is top center, not what we're going for. After this update, both the anchor and origin are automatically set.
By default, things are going to be where the user expects them to be when changing aspect ratio.
Stable has this hit error bar, which appears even when you hide the normal overlay. People have been requesting the same functionality in Lazer for ages, and now that the playfield layer can no longer be hidden, it's finally doable.
You can just add a new hit error meter to the playfield layer, and it will now stay there. The other thing I'm working on is fixing layers in the skin editor, basically. Right now you have a drop down at the top left and you have to select which layer you're working with. As a user, you don't really know what is on what layer. I'm working on changing it to be more like an image editor where you can see and click to all content in all layers.
Is there a reason why you're focusing on this? I don't think anyone commented on skinning layers.
The reasoning for that is that Smokey was working on getting skin configurable settings, skin.ini settings, to bring those old settings into the skin editor so people could make changes to them. The main one was being able to move the Mania playfield around on the screen. I want to be storing all this new configuration data in its own layer, but I don't want to have that layer in the dropdown. So yeah, this is the prerequisite to make that happen.
One of the first things that'll be affected by this skin configuration stuff is Mania's new touchscreen buttons. These are part of today's update, but without any customization. Eventually though, mobile Mania players will finally be happy. Song select. A lot of people commented on it. What's the status there?
So, as per usual, there's 3 or 4 iterations of design, so we're aiming for something in the middle. All the finalized pieces from each design that look the best, we're bringing them together. Work is done on the leaderboard, on the stats area, on the carousel, and on the footer, all separately, and they haven't been put together yet.
For the footer, are you still going to change the bottom logo into a button?
No, that's a lot of people apparently didn't like that. Anyway, we're going back to the logo for now. Oh, the logo, which no longer has a dot. Also, I think the O is slimmer, kind of visually balancing the text.
You might think this logo is the first thing newcomers notice when downloading the game, but no, it's actually this. Lazer is loud, or rather it was until this change.
This is one we probably should have fixed a long time ago because of the amount of complaints we got, which isn't to say that we're doing something wrong. I went through a lot of other games and it feels like games just have very loud volume compared to other apps on the system, and that's because apps like YouTube and Apple Music, they play things back at a lower volume even when you set the app to full volume. So we've, I think, reduced the volume to 50% of what it used to be.
On the topic of new players installing OS, I guess, recommended beat maps in the first run setup are updated now too. Specifically, classic maps from Stable are back, and there are 3 randomly selected maps from the Mappers Guild per mode. Read stuff here if you're curious about how this works. And naturally, any new player's instinct is to be offensive in public. As of this update, certain word filters apply, both in chat and in multiplayer lobby names. Really? I thought chat had filters already.
Yeah, it was implemented in OS Web, but the table, which needed to have the bad word list in it, wasn't populated yet.
Nice. On the UI side of things, multiplayer also makes private rooms more obvious now. There's scrolling for long song titles here. A couple elements are scaled down. And there's little arrows for menus within menus. Framework is the chunkiest section of this changelog. It's still going, yeah. I'd sum this up as the game runs better, but there is one important thing to note about this memory leak.
If you did have performance issues with Direct 3D, try switching back and see if it's working any better. That's a message brought to you by Smoogie Poo.
And here are a few smaller changes. This unpause countdown was added last update, but somehow nobody anticipated notes going underneath it, so now it just fades out. This no longer happens when testing maps. And music doesn't stop at the results screen when spectating anymore.
In the background, we're moving towards storing the original score value and then post-applying the multiplayer. And this is kind of a prerequisite for making changes to, say, classic mods multiplayer, which is something that a lot of people are very opinionated on, especially for Mania, and I feel like we've kind of dropped the ball with making a change there as fast as we should, so hopefully that's coming soon.
Related to score stuff, is there a reason why PP for more mods isn't a priority? Like, lots of people are waiting for that.
I think the main thing stopping us with PP related changes right now is the lack of anyone willing to make a call. I don't think I'm competent enough, like I haven't dealt with PP enough to make calls. We did have some kind of PP committee, but I don't know what's happening with that. All the other stuff that's been mentioned, things like improving the skin editor, improving song select, practice mode, basically everything on here is really spot on, and it has already sparked some new discussion and some new work. So yeah, thanks for the really good feedback, and I think this is going to keep us going for a while.